bisik.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A huge welcome to the Interbatch Debate 2021 for the viewers, participants and juries. The opening ceremony of the Interbatch Debate is going to start now. Thank you. Announcing the presence of Dr. Amira binti Abdul Rahman, which is our advisor, and our juries for today's competition round, which is Associate Professor Dr. Rosfaiza Siran, Dr. Nasibah binti Azmi, Dr. Wan Nur Iza binti Wan Muhammad Zain, Dr. Siti Nur Ashikin binti Muhammad Tambik, Dr. Muhammad Huzaimi bin Harun, and Dr. Muhammad Zaid bin Muti. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will be commencing the opening ceremony today with singing the national anthem followed by wawasan setia warga UiTM.
Bersatu kita warga UiTM, kita bangsa perkasa, taat dan setia untuk negara, penuh semangat wajar. Kita jangan mudah terlupa pengorbanan perjuangan anak bangsa. Kita jangan mudah terleka kemajuan keamanan yang ada. Kita berterima kasih pada pemimpin-pemimpin negara. Kita rasa penuh bersyukur kerahmatan kemuliaan darinya. Kamilah pendukung pewaris bangsa, kamilah pendanaan bangsa Malaysia, kamilah warga
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to all of you, the juries, our amazing participants in this Google Meet, and to our viewers in YouTube Live. I am Nuri Imam Fakihah binti Mama Yazid, and on behalf of the organizing committee, we are pleased to welcome you to our annual 5th Interbatch Debate Championship 2021. Now, I would like to call upon Adam Ali Firdaus to recite the doa for a blessed and prosperous evening.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma innaka khallaqul azim, innaka sami'un alim, innaka ghafurur rahim, innaka rabbul arsyil azim, innakal barrul jawadul karim. Ya Allah, Engkaulah yang mempunyai segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kepujian. Engkaulah yang berhak menerima segala kesyukuran. Engkaulah yang memiliki segala pemerintahan. Di tangan Engkaulah segala kebajikan. Kepada Engkaulah kami kembalikan segala urusan. Allahumma ya Karimu ya Rahim, cucurilah rahmat dan limpahkanlah barakah daripadamu ke atas program Interbatch Debate ini. Berkatilah ia dari awal hingga akhirnya. Ya Fa'alu lima yurid, kami juga memohon perlindungan daripadamu dari segala perkara yang boleh mencacatkan segala atur cara dalam program ini, dan dari segala perkara yang boleh melalaikan kami dari mentaati perintahmu. Dan kepadamu jugalah kami serahkan segala urusan kami. Rabbana alaika tawakkalna wa ilaika anabna wa ilaikal masir. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Thank you, Adam Ali Firdaus, for leading the prayer just now. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, for your information, this year's Interbatch Debate is based on the theme of Harry Potter and Hogwarts. This is why you can see our Hogwarts poster and its 4 crucial houses, Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff, adorned on all our participants with virtual backgrounds that represent their teams, which you will be seeing during the competition round. Without further ado, let us welcome our advisor, Dr. Amirah binti Abdul Rahman, to give the opening speech and officiate the annual 5th Interbatch Debate Championship 2021.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Ms. Nurin. So it is my pleasure to welcome all participants today for the Interbatch Debate Championship 2021. I would like to extend a special welcome to our esteemed member of panelists, your beloved lecturers, which will be the judges for tonight's debate event. I am very happy to see your presence at this program. This is the first Interbatch debate in our faculty which is completely conducted on a digital platform in line with the social distancing norms due to COVID-19 pandemic. I am proud to announce that this program is being conducted by an excellent organizing team headed by Ms. Nuraina Nakia Saifulizam. Thank you all for your hard work and dedication to make this event successful. I hope that this event would help students expand their interpersonal skills, improve critical thinking, and this would be the chance for you to show your confidence when speaking in public and expressing your ideas eloquently, at the same time, maintaining a good emotional control. Congratulations to the students who are brave to challenge themselves and enter this competition. I wish you the best of luck. And I request all the debaters, students that are currently residing across the country at your own home to make use of these knowledge-enhancing activities to the best of your abilities. I would like to end my opening speech by quoting Margaret Heffernan, "For good ideas and true innovation, We need human interaction, conflict, argument, and debate. Thank you. Back to you, Nurin.
Nurin, your microphone is muted.
Thank you, Dr. Amira, for the inspiring speech and officiate the program. As an introduction to our first debate round today, let us show you an introduction video of the teams that will be participating in this year's Interbatch Debate.
They are Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin.
Huge credit and gratitude towards our talented Maltech committees for their amazing introduction video. Our opening ceremony has come to an end. Thank you for watching the opening ceremony. Now we will proceed with the first preliminary round of our debate competition with Gryffindor Year 1 against Slytherin Year 2 and Ravenclaw Year 1 against Hufflepuff Year 1. Please allow us some time to set up the debate room for the Gryffindor versus Slytherin match. For the juries who will adjudicate the Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff match, please exit this Google Meet and enter a new Google Meet link that's sent by our committees in WhatsApp. For the viewers who want to watch the Ravenclaw versus Hufflepuff match, please click on the link below in the description box or the YouTube comment box. We will start the debate competition in 5 minutes because there is some technical problem. Thank you for waiting. Assalamualaikum. For all the participating teams, please make sure your teammates are in the debate room. Thank you. Now, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, we will proceed to the first round of our debate competition. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to honorable lecturers, adjudicators, debaters from the government and opposition side, and not to forget the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 5th Annual Interbatch Debate Championship organized by the Diplomatic Exco of Medical Student Association, MESTA. On behalf of the organizing committee, we are pleased to welcome you. Before we start our debate championship today, please kindly mute your speakers throughout the debate unless you are giving your speech or point of information, POI. Only the moderator and participating teams are allowed to turn on their camera throughout the debate. The juries are welcome to turn on their cameras after the debate has finished to comment on the debate by the participating teams. Welcome to the first preliminary round of Interbatch Debate Championship. I am Nuri Imam Fakihah binti Muhammad Yazid, the chairperson, and Zulhelmi, the timekeeper for today. We are very delighted to announce our motion for today, which is about the COVID-19. I would like to introduce the debaters for today. On my right side, taking the role as the government team is the team from year 1, which is Gryffindor, Nur Ain Soleha binti Muhammad Nasri, Muhammad Hanif Taqiyuddin bin Muhammad Hisham, Muhammad Ahmad Daniel bin Saiful Bahri, and Nur Hana Khalila binti Muhammad Fauzi. And next, on my left side, taking the role as the opposition team is the team from year 2, with the speakers is Ahmad Muaz bin Ahmad Maris, Nur Zarifah binti Muhammad Zaki, Syaril Rohan bin Rosli, and Alia Nabila binti Muhammad Syarhiru Akmal. Oh, I'm sorry, the Gryffindor is the opposition side. There are 3 educators who will educate this competition. Okay, which is Associate Professor Dr. Rosfaiza Siran, Dr. Nasibah binti Azmi, and Dr. Wan Nur Izzah binti Wan Muhammad Zain. Now, I would like to state the rules and regulations for today's debate. The time allocated for the first speaker of the government team is 7 minutes. The timekeeper will ring the bell once. At the first minute, which signals at that point of information, POI, are allowed to be given from the opposing team. The bell will be ringing again at the 5th minute to signal the end of chances for POI to be given. The timekeeper will ring the bell twice at the end of 7 minutes, indicating that the time is up for the speaker and the speaker should do his or her closing speech immediately. Any POI given before the first or after 6 minutes should be ignored. Please do keep in mind that an extra 1 minute is given for the speaker if the speaker has a poor internet connection during the speech, which the timekeeper will take into account the extra time. For the rest of the speakers, the time allocated for them to deliver their speech is 6 minutes. The bell will be ringing once at the 1st and 5th minute to signal the duration for POI can only be delivered. Any POI given before the 1st or after the 5th minute should be ignored. The timekeeper will ring the bell twice at the end of the 6th minute to indicate the time of the end of the time for the speakers to deliver their speech, and they should do the closing speech immediately. The speakers will be penalized if the time taken exceeds the allocated time. Again, an extra 1 minute is given for the speaker if the speaker has a poor internet connection during the speech, which the timekeeper will take into account the extra time. Next, I will briefly declare the roles of the debaters. The first speakers of the government and opposition team need to define the motion and state their stand as well as introducing an idea or more to support or against the motion. The first speaker from the opposition also needs to rebut the idea given by the first speaker of the government team. The second speakers from the government and opposition team need to convey 2 or more ideas to support or oppose today's motion. In addition, the second speaker of the government team needs to rebut the idea given by the first speaker of the opposition, while the second speaker of the opposition team needs to rebut the ideas given by the second speaker of the government team. The third speaker need not to introduce the new ideas and need to rebut all the ideas given by the first, second, and third speakers of the other team. For the reply speech, the time allocated to prepare is 2 minutes, whereas to present the reply speech is 3 minutes. The first or second speaker of the opposition team should present his or her reply speech first, followed by the first or second speaker from the government team. The speakers cannot introduce new ideas and will need to summarize their arguments and reaffirm their stand regarding today's motion. The third speakers are not allowed to present the reply speech. The timekeeper will ring the bell once, and the second minute as a last minute warning and will ring the bell twice to signal the end of the debate. Do the participants clear of the rules and regulations?
Yes.
As the rules and regulations are fully understood, I would like to call upon the first speaker of the government team to deliver his speech. Thank you.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Freedom of choice versus community responsibility. That is the main theme of today's debate. Okay, this house believes COVID-19 vaccination should be compulsory in Malaysia. All right. So my job here today as the first speaker is to define the motion, set up a case and mechanism, and also provide 1 point for my side. My second speaker will then step forward and provide 2 new points, whereas my third speaker will rebut all the points brought forward by opposition. Now, allow me to define a key component in today's debate, which is the word compulsory. All right, so what we from side government define as compulsory is high-risk people. Now, this includes healthcare workers, healthcare students like medical, dental, nursing, and pharmacy students, the elderly, and parents of babies and toddlers. All right. Now, why them? This is because healthcare workers are working in a high-risk environment. they're exposed to infection and patients. Whereas the elderly and babies and toddlers and kids, they have a weakened immune system, and therefore they need the vaccination to provide a better, stronger immune system. All right. So the mechanism of how we are going to surveillance the vaccination process is same as status quo right now, which is that those who have vaccinated will receive a digital certificate on their MySejahtera, and this will then be your passport. This will be your saving grace to go wherever and travel as you please. Because why? Now that you've completed 2 doses, you're eligible to return to work. You are eligible to travel here. You're eligible to travel in public spaces. All right. Employers also have to have the responsibility on their employees. And this will be the surveillance method that we from side government propose on how we are going to instill the mandatory vaccination program for all the high-risk patients, high-risk people. Okay. Mandatory vaccination, including COVID-19, can be ethically justified if the threat to public health is in grave. Why do I say this? Because I'll give you a good example, ladies and gentlemen. Measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination. All right, that was a vaccination given to babies to prevent the infectious disease from spreading. And this vaccination was actually mandatory for babies, you know. And so my question I like to propose to opposition is that if we can make such vaccination mandatory, compulsory, why not COVID-19 vaccination, which is, as we all know right now, is very deadly with cases spiking up to 9,000-10,000 a day. All right. Now, if you go to if you don't go to a dentist, if you don't wear a helmet while riding a motorbike, if you don't eat food properly, that's on you. All right. The risk it affects other people is near to 0%. It only affects you. Whereas taking the vaccine affects a huge general population. All right. Because whether or not you take the vaccine will affect herd immunity, will affect how we are going to climb back from this pandemic. Now, moving on to my first point. All right. We need to achieve herd immunity. This is the key component in our salvation, in how we're going to solve COVID-19. Okay. All right. So what is herd immunity? It is when most of a population is immune to an infectious disease, and this provides indirect protection of population immunity to those who are not immune to the disease. Now, this could either be passively done or actively done. And if it were passively done, it means that everyone would get the disease first and recover from it, and then obtain the antibodies and needed to fight against COVID-19. All right, which obviously is a method we from side government do not propose, because why? That would involve us being in a dire situation like what happened in India, where oxygen tanks are needed to be handed out. Because why? Because everyone's being affected by COVID. Nearly the whole country is being affected by COVID. And we do not have the capacity to maintain that, to sustain that, all right? So that's why we propose for the active approach, which is active immunity, which is receiving the vaccination, which is making sure that everyone possible and eligible is vaccinated, especially the high-risk group that I have mentioned. Now, measles, mumps, and polio, and chickenpox was once a common but now rare infectious disease, thanks to excellent vaccinations program. Okay, so this is a good example of why we should and must make vaccination for COVID-19 mandatory and compulsory. Right now, we have plenty of people who do not want to take the vaccine or simply do not believe in it. A good example is the recent case in University Malaya, where a third-year medical student who actually didn't want to take the vaccine simply because she didn't want the choice of vaccine. I believe it was AstraZeneca. She didn't want AstraZeneca. So, so when we make it compulsory for people like her who are medical students to take the vaccine, she she will not pose a threat towards patients. She will not pose a threat towards anyone in her surrounding. Why? Because she's already been vaccinated. Okay, so making it compulsory is a good initiative for us to solve the current problem of COVID-19. All right. So what side opposition want to do here is that they want it to make it that it's a freedom of choice, that it's something that, you know, you're free to choose. But we from side government firmly and adherently say and stand today that tell you that the burden of proof that we have to prove, that we have said, is that COVID-19 vaccination should be compulsory in Malaysia, simply put, because the benefits outweigh the harm. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, the first speaker of the government team. Now, I would like to call upon the first speaker of the opposition team to deliver his speech.
Assalamualaikum and good evening. I bid to Chairman, trustworthy timekeeper, and not to forget, ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor. The topic for our debate today is this House believes that COVID-19 vaccination should be compulsory in Malaysia, and we from opposition disagree with this statement. As stated by the first speaker of the government, he said that we need to make vaccination compulsory in order to achieve herd immunity, and we believe this is wrong because we in opposition did not discourage the vaccination, but we are asking whether should it be compulsory, because if we see in Malaysia, the current government is planning to do is planning to achieve herd immunity, although they do not compulsory the vaccination program. So as the first speaker of the opposition, I will talk about 3 reasons why COVID vaccination should not be compulsory. And disclaimer, we opposition agree with COVID vaccination, but we disagree making COVID vaccination a compulsory. So the first reason why we should not make COVID vaccination a compulsory is freedom of choice. I'm pretty sure that there are no human being like to be dictated. Like for example, we could see that even a child wants to have choices in their life and not wanted to be dictated by their parents. So do you think making COVID vaccination compulsory is a realistic step, considering different background and ideology of Malaysian citizens? And in addition, making COVID vaccination compulsory is indirectly degrading Malaysian citizens' authority and decision, and it is not supposed to be Malaysian government policy because this is actually a form of dictatorship. So now I have a question for government. Are you trying to turn Malaysia into dictatorship? So moving to the second reason why COVID vaccination is not compulsory is because it breaks the pillars of medical ethics. For me personally, I think ethics is very important, and I believe every single person in the world believe that ethics is important, and I'm pretty sure that all the speakers tonight is a medical student. So pillars of medical ethics is a well-known fact. We could see how making vaccination compulsory breaks the medical ethics when one of the pillars, which is autonomy, that means giving the patient the freedom to choose freely. And from the definition of autonomy, do you think making vaccination a compulsory looks like giving the patient freedom? So we could see that the government not just trying to turn Malaysia into dictatorship, but they also being disrespectful to Malaysian citizens. So moving on to the third reason why COVID vaccination should not be a compulsory is considering Malaysia economic status. And vaccination supplies. So as we all know, Malaysia's capability to have continuous vaccine supply is questionable, although the current vaccination program is not a compulsory program. We could justify this based on the statement made by our Minister Khairy Jamaluddin in April 2021. He stated that Malaysia is currently having COVID vaccination supplies issues and will start to stabilize by June 2021. And we need to take into consideration where Malaysia's current government is targeting for only 80% of Malaysian citizens to be vaccinated. And do you still believe that making COVID vaccination is in Malaysia a compulsory is a significant step in overcoming this pandemic when considering the vaccination supplies issues? So In conclusion, I believe that the government should reconsider their stance in making COVID vaccination in Malaysia a compulsory. And just to share what the wise man says, measure the cloth on your own body. We opposition hope for the betterment. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now, I would like to call upon the second speaker of the government team to deliver her speech.
All right, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. I bid to the honorable judges, accurate timekeeper, with the opponent comrades, ladies and gentlemen. So debating on today's motion, this House believes that COVID-19 vaccination should be compulsory in Malaysia. We from the government side totally agree with this motion because we believe that the benefit outweighs the harm. So the first thing is I would like to rebut what the chief opposition has said just now. So the chief opposition has said that we want to turn this country into a dictatorship. And also we need to give the citizen a freedom of choice in terms of choosing whether they want to be vaccinated or not. I would like to strongly disagree with that because as you can imagine, if some things in this world, if we really agree with that, we should also agree with the point that if one day our citizen would like to not wear seatbelt during when they in the cars, will we want to agree to that too? No, right? Because we as the government, we know that the benefit outweighs the harm. We can also say that if they choose not to wear seatbelt, it's their choice, right? But no, we cannot say that because we see the benefit outweighs it harms. Also, the chief opposition has said that Malaysia capability to provide the vaccine nowadays is not very competent. So we from the government side strongly want to strengthen that. We will make it compulsory. By mean is we're not going to make it like everyone is vaccinated at the same time. You know, it is not rational and not logic. We will make everyone get vaccinated, which is compulsory for everyone to get vaccinated. But we will it will be done by time, you know. Okay, so done with my rebuttals. I will move on to the 2 points to support our motion today. So the first one is we from the government side really thinks that making vaccination compulsory for everyone is important to prevent worsening outbreak of mutated virus. So according to Dr. Betty Corber, a biologist from Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, she stated that while they're doing the research on COVID virus throughout the year, the virus has been mutated and their concern is the mutated virus may alter the virus properties, which the worst case is decrease the efficacy of the already existing vaccine, which means in the long run, we will have more problems, which we have to create more vaccine, spend more time, money and energy to use to protect ourselves from the new variant virus. So which means this will make our effort now will go to waste. And the more time we give the vaccine stay in on the earth, the more chances we get to mutate it, as the more chances we give the virus to get mutated as they replicate. I would also want to give some info. In July 1st, 2020, our Ministry of Health have detected 28 new variant cases of COVID-19 in Malaysia, and 25 cases out of it is classified under variant of concern (VOC) category, which according to the US Center of Disease Control and Prevention (CDC), there is evidence of an increased transmissibility, more severe disease, and reduced effectiveness of treatment and vaccine. So, which is why we need to prevent worsening outbreak of mutated virus. So, moving on to my second point, which is to make the economy great again. First of all, I would like to enlighten all of you a little bit of our current economic status, which according to Prof. Madya Dr. Muhammad Yusuf Sari, an economic analysis from UPM, he stated that based on Bloomberg COVID Resilient Ranking, Malaysia is now currently ranked 51st place out of 53 countries, that is the third place from the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. So this ranking is a measure for the eligibility of our country to open the borders for tourism, just to name one. So we can see that this pandemic really affect badly on our economy, as we have to cut tourism, which contribute to 14.9% of economy in Malaysia. And that, ladies and gentlemen, for tourism. We also can see people are losing job nowadays because the employer cannot afford to pay them as the business are not going well. So this further lead to decreased purchasing power among the citizens. Imagine if this pandemic is still ongoing, we are afraid that we will see a worst case of scenario in Malaysia. Sorry, no. So this is very dangerous. That's why we have to make sure that we achieve herd immunity faster so that we can make the economy greater again. So I think that's all from me. Once again, before I end my speech, I would like to state that we from the government side totally agree that this house believe COVID-19 vaccination should be compulsory in Malaysia. With that, I raise my case. Thank you.
Thank you, the second speaker of the government team. Now, I would like to call upon the second speaker of the opposition team to deliver her speech.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to chairman, to juries, and to all people who are watching this debate. I am the second speaker for the opposition, and as a representative from my team, I would like to say that we are opposing that the House believes that vaccine should be compulsory, because the issue is not vaccine, but it is actually the standard of procedure that we should be compulsory about. So if you remember, what is the number of cases today? 8,574 cases. So if you remember, the vaccination program is starting this month and last month and maybe a few months ago, and many people have been vaccinated. So of course, many people should be expecting that the number of cases going down. But may I ask, is it going down, ladies and gentlemen? The answer is no, it is not going down, because the government is trying to say that it is the trump card. COVID-19 vaccine is the trump card to stop this insidious pandemic from going on. And I would like to rebut the first speaker about them trying to reach herd immunity. But you are also trying to mention about about making it compulsory to the frontliners. No, thank you. About making it compulsory to the frontliners, also people with high risk. But can you imagine how many percentage of that can make many people immune to that virus? That is going to be little. Instead, why don't you just vaccinate everyone so that we can achieve herd immunity faster? And another thing, if you want to give it to frontliners are having masks, are wearing face shield, are wearing double layers. Of course, they'll be less likely to get a virus compared to our citizens who are just wearing one mask. No, thank you. Who are wearing double mask or just a single mask without any protection gear. So that is what I would like the people to question about. And the second thing for the second speaker is that they are giving the example of wearing seat belts, and people have to wear seat belts because it is a part of the law. But people people are still not going to wear seat belts. People are not going to follow the law.
POI, please.
No, thank you. And if we are going to make it compulsory, there are still going to be some people who are not going to follow it. For example, anti-vaxxers. If we are going to force them, are they still going to like it? For example, if you don't like vegetables, if someone is forcing you to eat vegetables, do you still going to eat vegetables? Of course, you're going to be very rebellious about it. You're going to protest, and that is not what we want. So another thing that the second speaker has speak about is the mutation of the virus. Thank you very much, government, for giving us a good information, because of course there is going to be a lot of variants, and there's going to be a waste of money, a waste of time, and a waste of energy. And that's what I'm going to talk about. It is going to be a waste of vaccines, waste of money. For example, for the first country A, having virus A. And then, therefore, the country decided to vaccine everyone to achieve herd immunity for virus A. But suddenly, in the middle of the year, there's virus B. And then people will still have to get vaccinated all over again, waiting all over again, feeling anxious all over again. And the government will have to plan things all over again, spending money all over again, wasting time all over again. And do you think it is worth it? Do you think that the vaccine is going to be a good long-term cause? Because there's going to be a lot of variations. And about our standard of procedure, I would like to say, do you remember the glory days of Malaysia where there are low 2-digit cases? Way before vaccination was invented or given to Malaysia, the number of vaccination rates is very low in Malaysia at that time. But the number of cases, COVID cases, is low because people are adhering to the standard of procedures. So I believe that we should make that compulsory instead of making vaccine compulsory. We make vaccine as a choice. Because if we follow the standard of procedures, we are going to stop the spreading of people. And as I said, 8,574 people. We are still in a vaccination program, but it is still rising. So in conclusion, the opposition believes that vaccine should not be compulsory in Malaysia because first, it is because we have a lot of COVID variants, and that means we have to waste a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of energy to make our people COVID free. And also, we should not make vaccine an issue, but actually the standard of procedure an issue. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you to the second speaker of the opposition team. Now, I would like to call upon the third speaker of the government team to deliver her speech. Thank you.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening I bid to all members of the floor. Today as the whip of the government side, I will now rebut all the points given by the opposition side. And I will start with the second speaker who completely disregard basic scientific fact. The first point that she pointed at us is that how the opposition side is proposing a tighter SOP as a prevention measure for the COVID cases of going down. However, we need more than that. Funny how you mentioned that we used to have 2-digit cases by following the SOP, but look at now, we are also following the SOP and still the numbers are going up. So you can see right now at this critical moment, following the SOP is not the only viable way to end this pandemic. We need to have vaccine. This have been proven over and over again by various outbreaks, not only the COVID-19, but from various outbreaks or pandemics that have been occurred. We know that vaccines are sorry, not yet. Sorry, not yet. Please let me finish my statement. So another point that she stated was that the virus, we should not give the vaccine is because of the variants. They said that by giving the COVID-19, it will be ineffective for virus. And she actually mentioned the virus A and virus B, which I found very fascinating because right now we are talking about SARS-CoV-2 virus. We are talking about one virus, but many variations. And you know, the vaccination for these variants are slightly lower. For example, if I was given Pfizer and there's a new mutation, I would still be protected. However, it would not be completely not useful to give the vaccine in the first place. So I found both of the 2 points completely disregard the scientific basic facts that we learn in medical school. So, and she also mentioned that for frontliners, they are given masks and protective gear. But you see, they are given that because they need more protection than us because they are more exposed to the virus than the population. So if we follow the SOP and we get the vaccination, inshallah, we'll be safer than those who are actually facing the COVID-19 threat day by day. Okay, moving on to the first opposition side, he said that regarding about the freedom of choice, and this is correct. I agree that people
UI?
should be given the freedom of choice. Not yet. Let me finish my statement. However, coming from the government side, we actually want the compulsory to be on the people who are high risk, for example, as stated by the Prime Minister, and all the other people, all the non-essential people will be given the vaccine later. Yes, Yumi. Who was it that wanted the POI?
Me.
Okay.
Okay. First, I want to ask the main group that the government is focusing is frontliners. So, and then you are explaining about herd immunity. So I just want to ask, when you are focusing about frontliners and high risk, do they enough? The amount of them are they enough to achieve herd immunity? That is the first.
Thank you for the question. For herd immunity, as stated by the WHO, we do not know the exact percentage of the herd immunity. However, we understand that by making this vaccine compulsory to all people, by making it from the frontliners all the way down to the whole of Malaysia, we will increase the vaccination rate, and thus we will be closer to getting the herd immunity. That is what my first speaker is trying to say. So, not yet. I will still have to explain. So, the first speaker coming from the opposition side also stated that we are not a dictatorship. Yes, I agree. We are not a dictatorship. So I would like to give an example. You see, making the vaccine is mandatory has been going on from the 1805. Remember that 1805 in the state of California in the USA, and we know that USA is a democracy. But however, why they make it mandatory is because they want to be to have the betterment of the whole state. We want to make the whole state safer, and that is what we coming from the government side is trying to do. We want to make the whole country safer by making the vaccination compulsory. Also coming from the opposition side, they also stated that that it breaks the pillar of medical ethics. However, coming from the government side, we actually think that freedom of choice should not be endangering others as well. And okay, coming to rate my point, I think the government point should stand. This motion should stand because the benefits outweighs the risk. And with that, I hope you all agree with us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, the second speaker of the government team. Now, I would like to call upon the third speaker of the opposition team to deliver his speech.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I bid to Mr. and Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. So the topic for our debate tonight is that this House believes that COVID-19 vaccination program should be compulsory to every Malaysian living in Malaysia. But ever since the debate started, I've noticed that the government has a bit of a misstatement about where we stand in this debate. Basically, we're not discouraging the people to not take vaccines, but the idea of forcing everyone to take that vaccine without taking into consequences about their choices is very unethical. It is not ethical. It is not healthy for you, the government, and the medical practitioner involved. I'm sorry, the first bit hasn't been run. So yeah, so it's not ethical and it's not healthy for you, the government, and other medical practitioners out there, forcing other people to receive your treatment, because we, the opposition side, believe that the government has absolutely no right to stick a needle into a person's arm without their consent or agreement, because basically compulsory, you're making everyone to receive your vaccination. The harsh word is, of course, forcing. And other than that, you're not just violating, and other than that, you're not just violating the authority, you're also violating one of the 4 pillars of medical ethics, which is kind of a bit contradicting, if you ask me. So basically, you have lost your values as a medical practitioner. And one thing that I would like to ask is that the first speaker mentioned about herd immunity. So he said that the government side would like to target the higher risk people. But let me just clarify here is that how much are we talking about in the higher risk? Realistically speaking, it won't be enough to achieve herd immunity because we're not vaccinating thousands of people. We're talking about a whole nation, billions of people. So in order for you to achieve this herd immunity, you cannot just force everyone to receive this vaccination because it's not ethical, as I mentioned before. And the second speaker also mentioned is about they should make it compulsory because it might worsen the condition of the COVID-19 pandemic right now. So let me just clarify here is that, and also to mention, the third speaker said that we're still following the SOP, but the cases are still rising up. Because what? Because we didn't receive vaccine. I'm absolutely flabbergasted because have you all watched the news? The main root of the second outbreak in Malaysia is because of the PRN Sabah. I'm not trying to get political, but it's just a basic, a straightforward statement because people that went to Sabah didn't quarantine themselves. They didn't follow the SOP. And the main priority that the government should focus is that you're trying to limit the spread of the disease. So how do you limit this? By practicing good hygiene, practicing social distancing. What is the use of vaccination if you're not practicing all of these important components? Because as realistically speaking, all of people here are medical students. We have learned in our lectures, vaccines does not fully guarantee you 100% that you will not get the disease. But however, it will reduce the symptoms. So instead of you, the government side, going your way out, forcing people to receive this vaccination, might as well just focus on the most simple thing by tightening the SOP. And because SOP, when you maintain your social distancing, when you maintain social distancing, you maintain your good you maintain your good hygiene, then the spread will cease. Vaccination is another way of confirming this to reduce the spread. But the main issue right now is not about vaccination. It's about the word compulsory. I repeat once again, compulsory is the issue. You as the government have no right to stick a needle into everyone you see just because you think that, if I vaccinate all of my people, if I force them to vaccinate all of them, then we can return to normal. Well, let me just clarify here is that vaccination alone won't carry us out of this pandemic because it takes more than that, especially SOP. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the third speaker of the opposition team. As the debate is reaching its end, I would like to allocate 2 minutes for the first or second speaker for both teams to prepare their reply speech. Okay, now the time is up. The first or second speaker from the opposition team, please present your reply speech.
Assalamualaikum and good evening. IEB to the chairman, trustworthy timekeeper, and notified ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor. As to summarize the 4 reasons why COVID vaccination should not be a compulsory in Malaysia. So we from opposition, we given 4 main reasons that I think is a very solid reason that government should take into account. So firstly is that freedom of choice. As I explained before, freedom of choice is a very important thing, and we as a human being, we don't like for us to be dictated. So the fact that humans don't like to be dictated is a very big fact that we should be, the vaccination should not be a compulsory, but they should be encouraging people, Malaysian citizens, to encourage them to get vaccination. So the second point is it breaks the pillar of medical ethics. As I said before, all of us is medical students. We know about this pillar of medical ethics, the autonomy. By making vaccination, COVID vaccination a compulsory is actually suppressing the freedom and indirectly breaking the pillars of medical ethics. So I just want to ask, are you still a good medical practitioner? So the third point is, considering Malaysia economic status and vaccination supplies, there are a lot of facts in the news stated that Malaysia is having vaccination issues, especially in this nowadays, due to Malaysia's lack of supplies. And lastly, the main point that I want to emphasize here is the issue is not vaccine, but SOP should be compulsory, because we could see that there are a lot of many facts that we could see in our own country, in Malaysia. Before the case is increasing drastically, before then, we don't really have any, we are in an early phase of vaccination, and we could still manage to achieve 0 cases. So I just want to ask the government, so how could we achieve that in the condition that we are in a lower rate of vaccination? So lastly, we from opposition clearing our stance. We opposition agree with COVID vaccination, but we disagree making COVID vaccination a compulsory. So government, we should not forcing, but more encouraging. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, thank you. Now, for the government team turn.
All right. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Okay. Assalamualaikum. Once again, I bid all of you. All right. There is a waterfall in Ireland that appears to flow upwards, but in actuality, it's an optical illusion. Water still flows down, pulled by gravity. Now, we from side government are gravity here today to pull side opposition back to reality, back to basic science. Okay. So what we have done, all right, we from side government provided 3 legitimate points. Okay. First being that we want to establish herd immunity to solve this current pandemic situation. Second being, we want to protect our civilians and prevent them from further outbreaks. And third, we would like to improve the economy by ensuring that the welfare of the people are maintained, as well as the fact that all of health is maintained by vaccinating the people. Now, whereas side opposition have come forward and talk about certain points, which is one being freedom of choice. Now, they make it seem as if we are the big baddie, like we are a big dictatorship, that we are going to come down barging to your house and start jabbing you with needles. No, that's not how this government works. All right, we have procedures on how we're going to take the vaccine. We're making it mandatory, but that doesn't mean that everyone is doing it right there. No, we have a time, we have a place, and it goes through the procedures. Okay, and they talked about how we, one of their points also was about how we were breaking one of the pillars of ethic. All right, another pillar of ethic is also to ensure that the knowledge of medicine is passed and understood. So what that means in that sense is that the people know what they are being injected with the vaccine. And this is the same goes when we tell parents about MMR vaccines, you know, that this is for the welfare, the benefit of your baby. The same goes, all right? And so we from side government have come forward and provided substantial points that prove why we deserve to win today's argument. Simply put, because the benefits of taking COVID-19 vaccination, making it compulsory, outweighs the harm of just simply encouraging. Because encouraging, ladies and gentlemen, is not enough. SOP is not enough. All right. With that, I thank you.
Thank you for all the debaters. Now we will give some time for our educators to carefully give marks and discuss who is the winner of today's debate, as well as deciding the best speaker. While waiting for our committees to count the marks from the juries, we would like to ask the juries to comment on the debate that had happened. Can we start with our Associate Professor Dr. Faiza Siran?
Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. Hi, how is everybody? Hello. Alright. So I would like to say my thank you. I would like to say my appreciation to the organizer, Mr. and also to your Dr. Amira and also Aina for inviting me as a judge tonight. Now, before I give any comments, I would like to say that I'm actually vaccinated. So after I hear this debate, I'm not sure either I'm being forced or actually I'm actually consent to get my vaccination. So I'm also not sure. But I would like to congratulate everybody, Slytherin, Rohan, Zarifa, Alia and Muaz. Also Gryffindor, Hanif, Ain, Daniel and Hannah. I think you should actually clap yourself. It's a very good presentation and I think the teams are actually equally strong, all right? So for me, like, it's very good the way you think. I know it's very difficult because you've been trained as a medical doctor, right? So we always say at both sides. So when you are debate, you need to take one side, right? And I can see it from your eyes. But I mean, like, unfortunately tonight you only have one winner. And obviously, I'm not sure who the winners, but I think all of you are the winners tonight, all right? So, Hannah is very happy there. So, I mean, like, if any result, when you are very good tonight, I thought I'm going to actually, but it's very interesting. I heard every point that you said, and luckily, I'm already vaccinated. If not, you will create a dog on me. All right. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for your comment. How about Dr. Nasibah binti Azmi?
Okay, can you hear me? Boleh dengar? Boleh dengar?
Boleh, Doktor.
Okay, alright,
Boleh,
alright. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank Mesta for inviting us to be the judges. Okay, I would like to comment on a general basis, but before that, I just want to say during this pandemic, okay, how you guys can attend to this, having I would say interesting debate and discussion, which somehow throughout your debate and discussion, I tend to shift to here. To your point of view, and then when I listen to the opposition, I tend to shift on the other side. You know, because it how you make the discussion and debate so lively. So overall, I just want to say I am impressed with both team. But as like what Dr. Faiza said, we have to choose only one group to be the winner. Okay, so I just want to say in general, I am impressed, and I would say today this made my day. Our debate today, it's one of my way to distress tonight. Okay, after England did not win the last night. Okay, so this one of the way for me to distress. Okay, now in general, I just want to say, I'm commenting in general. Okay, I do notice that one of the way is actually how you can capture the judge heart. Okay, you should have more facial expression and what we say, more eye contact. So I this might be subjective, but when I look at the facial expression, it's actually capture my heart. Okay, so it's subjective, but with your facial expression, with your eye contact is actually one of the way to get more mark. It's subjective, but this is the way I'm looking. But the most important point, how you arrange your points, because somehow 2 or 3 debaters, I'm commenting in general. Okay, you just make your points so general. You didn't go into depth. Okay, so the thing is, you have to make your points focus, and one of the way is you have to repeat it frequently, because when you less repeat, okay, we are not aware of your points. Okay, finally, I would say there are a few that did not recap their point towards the end. So towards the end, when I impressed with the way you talk, okay, I tend to forget your point because I just like, oh, he or she is very good. And then towards the end, you just, okay, you didn't summarize. So I tend to, oh ya, apa dia cakap tadi ni? Okay, so it's actually towards the end, you should again recap or give your strong conclusion. And then before that, sorry, you have to understand that when POI were refused continuously, okay, I think only one attended to the POI, if I'm not mistaken. Only one of the debater attended to the POI. So you have to understand when you refuse the POI continuously, it actually somehow affect your marks. Okay? Alright. Okay, that's all from me. But very good and a lively debate tonight. Congratulations, everyone.
Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone. First of all, thank you to Mesta, to Dr. Amira and all for inviting me and Dr. Rusfa Izzai, Dr. Nasibah too as judges for the preliminary batch, okay? I think both Dr. Rusfa Izzai and Dr. Nasibah have said most of the points that I would like to say tonight. First I would like to congratulate to all. I'm impressed with both actually. I will just point few things only. At first, when I heard from the government, I was not so convinced and I was towards the opposition. But after like the second and the third speaker, I was more convinced to the government, okay? I think it is because of the arrangement of points too. I noticed that both teams, you address all the points, but the arrangement of points are more in sequence. Like for the government side, okay? So I think it's important that when you are trying to convey your message, you have the flow of how you want to answer or respond to the points from the speaker from the opposition or from the government, okay? That's all I think. I think the flow is important. And but I like the way that the first speaker from the opposition, very confident how he presented, okay? So that's why at first I was more convinced to the opposition. But after that, when I listened more and how the government presented their points in sequence and flow, I think they got the points. It's supported by evidence, by the researcher and everything, okay? So it's more like you have the evidence when you present, okay? So that's all from me. I guess the rest are just the same comments like Dr. Nasibah and Dr. Rosweza comments. Okay? Congratulations all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you Dr. Nasibah and Dr. Izzah. Now, we will still waiting for the results.
Can I ask when the government and opposition get this title, how long they've been given the time to prepare their points? Iman, Nurin? Anyone? I just want to get...
One day, Doctor.
Okay.
They were given 24 hours before, and then we decide 4 hours before the debate starts of the teams, the government or opposition.
Yeah, so that's impressive actually. Impressive how you prepared for the points.
Yes. In a very short time actually for me.
Yeah.
Okay, now the results are in my hands. The winner of this debate today is the opposition team. Congratulations to the winning team. They're winning by opposition team 219, while government team 218. It was so close. Okay, now the best speaker that chosen by the juries is Syaril Rohan from the government team. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, now finally it is the end of today's round. Thank you all for the amazing debate today, and thank you to the juries who are willing to spend that time this evening. Hope you all have a great evening ahead and you may leave this Google Meet. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, everyone. Good debate.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. 1 mark difference only, right?
Yes.
1 mark difference. Okay. Okay, bye.
1 mark only, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you, participants.